Yes everyone, welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to discuss all the latest news currently surrounding the crisis at Chelsea Football Club. I'm going to be discussing the latest controversy surrounding us and Middlesbrough over this upcoming FA Cup game and what exactly is going to happen with ticket sale allocations. And of course, we have even more news surrounding new bids being made and all the latest developments surrounding the sale of the club and everything falling alongside that. So I hope you guys definitely enjoyed today's video. Smash that like button. And before I get into anything, I do want to get one big plug out of the way first. Today's video is brought to you by Spitch. Spitch is the best fantasy manager app game new on the market, and today is the day to download Spitch because there are some incredible prize giveaways for one of you lucky viewers to be able to win if you participate and download Spitch. I'm going to show you on screen. Very easy, very simple to do so. Once you've downloaded the app, what you have to do is make sure you go to this section here in the main page, and that is the free section under prize competition. You click on that, and of course you have to create your own lineup if you hope to participate to win a host of amazing prizes, you guys, which include so many bangers such as winning an Apple Watch Series 7, prizes like AirPod Pros, Beats, Premier League tickets, and gift cards up to the tune of €100 and €50 as well. And as I'm saying, this is free for all you guys to enter if you download Spitch and participate in the competition. Of course, you guys, once you've picked the lineup, once you're happy with the team that you want to use, you have to join. It's free, and of course you have to register your ID and of course register your details too. Very quick, very simple, because proof is needed that you are 18 plus. And once you've done that, you have officially entered the prize giveaway draws. So massive luck to anyone that has done so. Of course, you'll find a link below in the description to download Spitch and participate in this amazing prize giveaway draw. Getting back to the video, so right now let's start with the latest news currently, and that's the whole controversy surrounding Middlesbrough and this FA Cup game. Basically, there has been a lot of confusion at this point in time. Of course, to give you guys some context behind the story, basically an extension had been agreed with Middlesbrough up to 9:30 AM this morning, compared to the extension and deadline being late last night over how exactly this game is going to be played out. Of course, Middlesbrough haven't been sanctioned at all. Their fans should be free to go to the game, even though it'd be a bit weird to just see away supporters there and, no Chelsea fans whatsoever. But of course, what can you do with these current government sanctions? The club agreed an extension deadline time with Middlesbrough, hoping that the government would be able to come back in time to give them some more clarification over, possible ways to find some amendments behind these current sanctions being placed. The club had been hoping to clarify more of the situation with the government and even propose certain ideas like just allowing fans to actually go to the game for free, proving that of course there's literally no financial gain at all from allowing fans to do this. However, the government response was not quick enough, and of course it did fall on deaf ears, which meant that the club then went to the FA basically to ask the game to be played behind closed doors, and the reasoning behind that was of course due to sporting integrity. And it's being due to this statement that came out from the club today, where a lot of controversy has arisen from this, with Middlesbrough and their owner Steve Gibson in particular being very outraged, being very angry, basically saying that Middlesbrough fans have not been sanctioned by the government. This is a Chelsea thing entirely. It's a bit hypocritical to be talking about sporting integrity during a time like this, where this is something of your own doing that has nothing to do with Middlesbrough fans, for example. So, they're not particularly happy about that. And I guess my reasoning behind why the club would entertain something like this is probably because of the financial costs to actually, run a game in today's game. We were seeing earlier numbers this week suggesting that it costs up to like $500,000 to $1 million to just operate any match day, which is a ton of money. And the club are thinking, the fact that, we're not allowed to make any money until any new ownership comes through at this point in time means that we have to be in a situation where we have to kind of safeguard whatever resources we currently have. Those resources have to pay for players, they have to pay for travel, staff, many other things as well too. So I can maybe understand why the club had been forced into a situation where they felt like they had to maybe come out strong and, find a way to, just reduce some of the costs that they'd have to inevitably have to pay for. However, this didn't go too well with the government, who of course, did find time to come up with a statement afterwards. And they basically, to give a long story short, the statement is up on screen alongside me, but I'm just going to give a summary of what they're basically saying. And they're saying that, our statement is proof that we aren't understanding the severity of the situation of being sanctioned due to our owners' ties to Putin. We aren't opposed to fans returning to the game in the long run. And I think for me, that really implies more that, once we have new ownership, that's when we can realistically expect fans to actually return back to the stadium. So there seems to be a lot of stalling tactics. Of course, the government are also involved in the sale of the club. They're monitoring things to make sure that everything is done by the books. The club have assured the government many a time that, we can show you ways that Roman Abramovich won't profit from this. I think realistically there could be ways that could be found that could, give us a bit more flexibility while easily proving that Roman would gain no benefit from anything whatsoever. But it does feel like this is now more of a political move from the government now to just really play hardball and really force a sale as soon and as quickly as possible. So I think at this point in time we're not very popular in the public eye, and I do think maybe looking to stay on top of our PR could be a good thing to do. And it's stuff like this from the club really the best strategy at this point in time. Some could argue that we're looking for preferential treatment and not really taking these sanctions as seriously as how a lot of people outside the club and in the country are seeing things at this point in time. Some could argue that it's quite lucky for us to still even be operating during a time like this. And I think personally too, it's just not fair on the Middlesbrough fans because it has literally nothing to do with them. It's an amazing achievement for them to be able to reach the stage of the competition. They've knocked out Man United. They're on an amazing cup run at this point in time. So I'm a bit confused by the club's approach. However, with a lot of owners of clubs and people who work on the top, a lot of the moves they do make is based on pure and cold business analysis. So sometimes it's not always going to look as pretty or as nice. So let's see what happens with this current development. Moving on to the next story, and now we move on to the second and final story today, and let's discuss the latest news surrounding bids being made to buy the club. Now, late last night it was reported that the Saudi media group had made a bid up to the tune of 2.7 billion. The Saudi media group are owned by Mohammed Al-Kahirji. He is a well-known Chelsea fan who has been to the games quite a lot. It's very personal for him, and he feels like he would be the best owner, of course, to take the club to a new direction. Currently, he is fronting a private consortium to buy the club. However, there is some controversy from the wider public over this potential deal because they're thinking isn't a bit of a hypocritical move to, of course, sanction Roman, essentially get him kicked out of the game to then do business with the Saudis, where they do have their own controversies surrounding their own human rights practices back in the country. Of course, the Saudi media group have really stated strongly that there are no ties at all to the government. However, there have been quite a lot of documented photos with Mr. Mohammed Al-Kahirji and Mohammed bin Salam, who is the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. There have been reports suggesting that the club feel like there could be some potential difficulties over a deal, suggesting that, of course, it would be difficult as approval is going to be needed from number one, Rain, the New York bank that is currently helping to oversee a sale, 2, the UK government, and of course 3, the Premier League as well too, of course, as there have to be tests done to show that you're a proper and fit owner as well too. So considering that could be quite a lengthy process, that isn't the most attractive option at this point in time. So we'd have to see what would happen behind the scenes. Of course, we know that Newcastle were able to get along quite quickly and smoothly with things, and a lot of fans do feel like Mr. Mohammed Al-Kahirji would be the perfect owner, of course, to just maintain the standards set by Roman Abramovich and continue things further forward. But I have to ask your guys' thoughts and opinions behind, owners currently that are attracting you, owners you feel could be the next best ones to take over things and, of course, help maintain momentum set. And of course, let us know about owners that you're just currently against completely in the comment section below. But of course, continuing with the article, you guys, we know that this Friday is the deadline for prospective buyers, of course, come in with official bids and to make their interest 1000% concrete. Currently, prospective buyers have to prove the money they have to the bank Rain, and Chelsea have given access to their last set of accounts, and of course showing our massive wage bill, of course, to minimize time wasters and anyone looking to stall any bids. You need to know exactly what you're looking to get yourself into. But of course, we do move on. Even though Bruce Park did announce that there is enough funds spared that will last us until the end of this season, of course we are looking to quickly get a deal done to find some new ownership. So this means that when Friday's deadline day does arrive, basically, the club are hoping to find some legally binding commitments on that day to, of course, accelerate things even faster. There's currently over 150 individuals and groups showing interest to buy the club, and they've all made their interest very known to Bank Rain. And it seems like at this point in time, the one who is the key front runner is Todd Boehly, who has of course bid between 2 to 2.5 billion. The current sale of the club right now, though, is of particular interest to our rivals in the Premier League, as they have some concerns of their own, and they feel like with Roman Abramovich essentially pledging to, wipe out 1.5 billion of debt attached to the club, that's going to give us a very unfair competitive advantage when it comes to any successor buying the club over him. So that meant today that Bruce Buck had to hold talks with the other individual clubs in the league and essentially assure them that any money that's going to be generated from the sale is going to be donated to help the crisis in Ukraine, or it could be just put in a frozen bank account, and then of course that will be taken over by the UK government. So in a sense, we're not necessarily going to benefit as much from the sale as clubs may feel. Of course, no sale can go ahead at this point in time yet until the government have issued us a new license. However, that's believed to be coming quite soon, and we're going to get a lot of strong answers once Friday does come. Of course, Todd Boehly, he is of interest to me at this point in time. I think I'm just looking more towards sporting strategy. That's what I really care more about. I actually care more about sporting strategy than whether the owner's a Chelsea fan or not. I don't think that necessarily correlates to that being like a better owner who's going to make better decisions in favour of the club. And with Todd Boehly, it seems like he is the only one so far that has found the right business partners that he wants to work alongside with. We know that involves billionaire Vice, and alongside Chelsea fan Jonathan Goldstein, who is the CEO of company Kane as well too. So it does seem like there could be the right expertise on many different levels, from a financial one as well as to a sporting one as well too. So they do interest me at this point in time. And of course, we can't forget the interest shown by Nick Candy, who is a British luxury property developer. Reports stated that this Sunday he held private meetings with Marina Granovskaya and Bruce Buck as well too. Now, he is a lifelong Chelsea fan. However, I'm still not too sure about him entirely. I do feel like I'm going to make a separate video on, all of the prospective buyers, just showing the pros and cons behind all of them, because there are so many interesting ones that I think a lot of you guys and all of us will actually have a better understanding of. I can see with him the benefits that he could gain from owning the club. Of course, we are on some very highly lucrative luxury real estate. You'd imagine that he can definitely find many ways to make money from that. And he does have very close ties with the Tory government as well too. Of course, we can't forget the interest shown by UK development investor Nick Candy, who is a lifelong Chelsea fan but does have very close ties to the Tory government as well too. He's made millions and millions from selling properties, especially selling properties to a lot of oligarchs as well too. So it's a bit of hypocrisy behind that. He basically says that he'd like to buy the club. Of course, the club has a special place in his heart and his family's heart as well too. However, ultimately, if it doesn't work, he just hopes that the best possible owners are the ones to take over the club and lead us towards a new direction. So let's see what happens with that one. And of course, with the Saudi media group, of course, they have the money. But I guess the only real concern is the fact that, let's say we accepted the offer from them, the government could take forever until they find a way to really say that legally everything's fine and everything's okay. And I don't think we have time for an investigation like that to really take, months and months to go through. So right now, things still are a bit stressful. We still don't have full answers towards what exactly is going to happen. However, we are getting closer and closer to getting some more concrete answers about where the direction of the club could be possibly going in soon. So you guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. There is going to be a match preview coming out for the Lille game later today, so stay tuned for that. And on that note, I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lines TV. Catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.